The first thing I'm going to show you when making pomegranate jelly is how to get seeds out of your pomegranate super easy. All you do, cut your pomegranate in half, and then you're going to cut slits along these little seams here where the white parts is, the membrane that goes between the seeds. Just cut a little slit. It doesn't have to be super big. Put it on. Now I have this contraption. I got this in my grocery store like years ago for $4. Best money ever spent. But you don't have to have one. You just beat the back with the back of a spoon, and just like that, as the outside will spread apart and all those seeds will just pop right out. It's so super easy, and it's kind of satisfying being able to whack the pomegranate there and beat it, take out any frustrations you have. But it goes by really quick, and it's so much less messy to do it this way. You get a little bit of juice from cutting the pomegranate, but that's about it. So definitely quick, and then you've got this bowl full of your pomegranate seeds. Now you need to juice the seeds. So there's a couple ways. You can just do old-fashioned Ziploc bag, rolling pin, and you roll it, and this works perfectly fine. It just is a little time consuming, but if you don't have a food processor, you could totally do this. Again, whack it, take out any of your anger issues on the seeds, and you just want to have it all juiced. So I took the easy way, and since I do have a food processor, I just threw all my seeds into the food processor because that's what it's for, right? To make my life easy. So sorry for the angles and stuff. Our new kitchen is not remodeled yet, and so I'm trying to make everything work with how we got it, where I can put the camera. But basically all I did was put my pomegranate seeds in the KitchenAid, or sorry, not KitchenAid, Cuisinart, the food processor, and then just blend it up for a few minutes until it's nice and juicy. Basically, it'll break up all those seeds. My mistake here was it was a little too full, and all my juice started, not all, but it started to leak out and make a big mess. It was one of those things I didn't notice at first, and I was like, oh shoot, it's dripping everywhere. So then I opted to go just pulsing it a few times like this. I did this for about a minute, just that way it didn't leak, but or at least not much, but it was still able to juice those seeds. Once you have those seeds done, you're going to strain them out, and I just put the strainer over a pitcher and poured it in, but then I quickly realized that I didn't have a big enough strainer and pitcher. So plan B, let's get back up with a bowl and a bigger strainer. And always make sure you hold the paddle. I didn't, and plop, out it goes. That's okay, no big deal. So now we're just gonna let this juice strain through the strainer. It takes a little bit of time, but that's okay. Just let it sit and slowly strain out. You can come through and stir it every once in a while. You can see it's already starting to get a little dry there, and just give it a good stir. Sometimes the screen on the strainer gets all clogged up, so make sure when you stir it, you're scraping the bottom of that strainer really good so that you can unclog anything that's not letting juice go through, and just give it a good stir, maybe every 15-20 minutes. And I think I let mine strain for about an hour and a half total, just while I did other things. You can always press the spoon down in, and that'll kind of help squeeze it out a little bit more if you want. You can tell usually how close it is by if you push your spoon down into the pulp and it fills with juice on the spoon, then you can tell right there it's got more to strain, right? There's more juice coming out, so it just needs a little bit more time. But really, you can do it as long as you want, and just till you get the juice you want. So here's what I ended up with. There's my pomegranate juice. Now, unfortunately for this recipe, I needed it up to there. So I'm going to substitute or add to with just pom juice. It's pomegranate juice. It's a good high quality, and it'll work just fine. In fact, if you don't have pomegranates or access to them, you can just make this recipe with the pom juice. So, and I actually, once I did this, I realized I only had about 4 more cups of that pom juice. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to add that to it and make a double batch because I didn't want that pom juice container sitting in my fridge. So the recipe on the blog is actually a double batch. So once you get your juice, it's 8 cups of your pom juice, half a cup of lemon juice, and then we're going to also add 2 boxes of pectin, and just add the pectin powder. Don't worry about mixing it before or anything like that. Add it right into your pan. Now you're going to have this pan cooking. The goal is to get this up to a full boil, so a boil that you can't stir down. And you don't have to sit there and stir it the whole time. Just kind of keep an eye on it. And once you give it a good stir, and just give it a few minutes, and it'll get up to a boil. And it doesn't require a lot of babysitting or anything like that. I think mine took maybe 20-30 minutes, and then it was, but I'm also high altitude, so things take a little longer for me. Keep that in mind. Once it gets up to a full boil, you're going to add your sugar. Now, we had a mistake with my camera, and it didn't record me putting in the sugar, so there's the sugar. This is when I realized it hadn't recorded. So that's the sugar. You added 10 cups of sugar, which I know it's crazy, it's a lot, but jams and jellies are that way. They have a lot of sugar in them. And you just stir it for a little bit, make sure all that sugar gets dissolved right into the jelly. And then we're going to do the same thing as we did before. We're just going to let it get up to a full rolling boil. So remember, a rolling boil means that when you stir it, it doesn't go away. So it still is boiling while you're stirring it. That's a full rolling boil. So here it is in a full rolling boil. So see, as I stir it, it's still boiling. That's what you want. Once it's that point, just turn your burner off, and now it's time to fill your jars. So, and it'll still boil a little bit because it's still on the burner. That's fine. We're going to fill the jars. It won't take us that long. So I had these jelly jars. They're tiny. They're about half a cup worth in each one. So because I wanted to make these for Christmas gifts. And so I wanted little jars. Now I'm going to show you how to do one start to finish. And typically though, I will do them in stages just because it's faster. But once you get your jelly into the jar, you want to get a wet paper towel or washcloth and just wipe the edges. You want to wipe off any jelly that got on the edge so that it won't disrupt it from sealing. And then put your lid and your seal on and put it right into the water bath canner. And that's the process you're going to do. So like I said, for me, I will fill all the jars or quite a few jars, and then I'll go around and wipe the rims and put the lids on. So it seems a little bit faster that way. Sometimes I have a kid help me and I'll fill, and they'll wipe the rims and put the lids on, and that's great. It's a great teamwork job. And then you're just going to fill your pan. Now, these can stack on top of each other. You just have to make sure that your water covers by about half an inch to an inch above the highest jar. So all the jars need to have at least half an inch to an inch of water over them when you're going to process them in the water bath canner. Some people skim the foam here. I actually don't. I don't mind it. I think it looks kind of pretty in the jars and it tastes good. So I never skim the foam. Some recipes will say to do that. But so you can see the water covers all the jars. That's great. And now we're just going to get it to a full boil. Once it starts boiling, your processing time starts, and process it. And then here you go. Once they're done and set up, they turned out beautiful. We had quite a few of them, and they are all ready for Christmas.